Good morning, Mizzou fans. Gabe DeArmond here with you, PM in the AM for Thursday, February 6th, 2025. Sometimes, sorry, it takes me a minute to figure out what day it is. Missouri coming off a loss last night, 85-81 in Knoxville to the number 4 Tennessee Volunteers, a loss that really did no damage to the Tigers. They move up a spot in the net rankings from 19 to 18, move up a spot on KenPom from 23 to 22. Oddly, after a loss, people nationally start to pay attention to Missouri a little bit more. This is a team I tweeted at halftime last night, regardless of whether Missouri finishes that off or not. It's time to quit talking about this team as a huge surprise, right? We make our predictions, we set our opinions in October about what teams are going to be. It's February 6th. This team is 17-5. It's 6-3, tied for third in the best conference in the history of college basketball. It's no longer a surprise when Missouri goes on the road and beats Mississippi State. Now, the margin might be a surprise. It's no longer a surprise that they beat Kansas. It shouldn't have been a surprise that they took Tennessee down to the wire and that it took Tennessee's best shooting effort of the season to get that win. This team is legitimately good. It is one of, I think, about 20 teams that, before we know the brackets or the seedings or whatever, going into the NCAA tournament should think, if we play our game, we are good enough to be playing in the Final Four in San Antonio. Not everybody goes into the tournament with that expectation, but Missouri is one of the teams that should. If you are a top 4 seed in the SEC, which they've got a shot to be, you're probably a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, which means you're probably, favored to get to the Sweet 16. And then it's about winning 2 games against good teams. Missouri has beaten good teams. Again, Florida, Kansas, toe-to-toe with Illinois, toe-to-toe with Tennessee, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. These are good basketball teams Missouri has beaten. So I think the national narrative is starting to flip. We heard it from Jimmy Dykes on the broadcast last night, on Inside College Basketball on CBS Sports last night. John Rothstein talked about Missouri being a team that everybody needs to pay attention to and is dangerous. So I think that national narrative is starting to shift. It's a little later than it honestly probably should have happened. I think it should have happened after the win at Florida. That told me Missouri was capable of playing anyone, anywhere, and on the right night getting a win. So be interested to see how Missouri handles maybe a little more attention and a little more expectation. They've said all along, we don't care, we're not paying attention. That's easier to say when nobody's talking about you. People are now talking about Missouri. I think they'll be put in that group with Tennessee, with Florida, with Texas A&M, maybe with Alabama, of that next group of teams in the SEC that might not quite beat Auburn, but is just about as good as anybody in the country outside of Auburn and Duke. I think that's where Missouri belongs. I think it's finally where Missouri is being put. If you haven't listened to or watched our post-game show from last night, please check that out. A lot of thoughts and analysis of the loss at Tennessee. We'll have one more PM in the AM this week on Friday morning. Thanks for hanging out. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Talk to you next time.